Power BI will help you out in terms of data visualization, and as well as it will help you out in some of the ETL processes as well. Now, you might ask the question how this is going to be used as a ETL process, right? Have you ever heard it will help us in ETL process?
Yes.
How?
Yeah.
So if you just learn about Power BI web service, it has several components like data set and data flow, right? Now the data flow portion of Power BI is very powerful. It can connect to on-premises data sources, or it can connect to any cloud sources. I mean, it connects to any kind of data source what we have. If the native connector is not available, you can connect using the customized data connections. Now once you connect it, you can kind of go through a data modeling process within Power BI. So you can try any kind of data transformation over here. It can be join, union, custom field, custom measures, or kind of customizing your columns. It could be like string functions you can use, date function you can use, dax function you can use. Number of functions are there which you can use in order to customize your columns or the complete data. Even let's say if I ask you to create a complete date dimension within Power BI, so you can create that from scratch, right? So such capabilities are there. They will help you out to go through the complete data modeling. And once you kind of complete the data modeling relations between different tables, you can store that data, right? I'm not asking you to go for data visualization directly. You can store that data and you can use it for various other purposes. So like when I say store that data, you can store that data directly into Power Azure Blob. Do you know what is a Azure Blob?
No, no, I don't have any idea.
Okay, what is Azure?
It's an online cloud-based service where we can store. I think.
Mhm. Okay, so Azure is basically the cloud services portal provided by Microsoft, right? Now, when I say cloud service portal, so it's not only the data storage. There are more than 100, 200 services which are used for different purposes, right? Similarly, you must have heard about AWS that is there in the market. So AWS
Yes.
also, right? AWS is also a cloud service portal provided by Amazon, and Microsoft provides Azure. Similarly, Google also provides Google Cloud Services. So we call it GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So these portals have different, as I said, like the services. So if you want to group, you can find different tools or services within that portal. Some of them will be related to your data handling. Some of them will be related to data visualization. Some of them will be related to the application development, right? So not only the data, but they will help you out in order to develop applications as well, like API calling or developing your APIs. And then machine learning related services are there, right? Visualization related services are there. So number of services are there which you can use. Even the storage service is there. So in Azure, the storage service what they provide is called Azure Blob, right? Or you can, there are a number of storage services. So Azure Blob is one of them. Similarly, there is Data Lake that is also available on Azure platform. Similarly, if you go to Amazon, Amazon provides S3 bucket. So S3 bucket is nothing but that's a S3, which is a scalable service, and that's a storage space which is provided by Amazon. So you can store your data over there, and then once you got, I mean that's like a Google Drive or maybe a shared drive only. So you can store huge data over there, and once you have data, like you can perform anything, any operations on it, or you can connect to that data, do visualization, or anything whichever you want, right? So that's the beauty of Power BI. Like you can do a lot of modeling and ETL process. Frankly speaking, this service, this flexibility is not there in Tableau as of now, right? Though the visualizations what you do in Tableau, those look better, look and feel is good there, but if I talk about overall services, right, in terms of your data modeling or the customization of data, definitely Power BI has edge on over Tableau.
Okay, so only based on visualizations they differ.
No, data modeling is also right. Data modeling and the data ETL portion, what we talked about, Power BI has
Oh,
a strong base there,
okay,
right?
okay.
Tableau has Tableau doesn't provide that kind of data modeling. It has more like the visualization what we create in Tableau are more I would say um, good looking, right? User can navigate, user have more options to customize the visualizations. That is
Mm-hmm.
not there in Power BI. But if I talk
Mm.
about overall data, then Power BI has more flexibility in terms of
Okay,
data.
okay, okay.
Okay. So fine. Let me kind of share my screen for a moment.
Uh, and that
Mhm.
Azure Blob and Data Lake is also a storage space only, right?
See, over Azure, you will get number of services. So let me just tell you, Azure services. See, if you see over here, these are the different. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on Azure, these are the different services like AI, machine learning, analytics, blockchain, compute, container, databases, developer tools. These are different services provided by Microsoft Azure. Similarly, if you go for AWS, you will see different services provided by AWS also. Over here, right? Let me just scroll down. Analytics, HD Insights, Power BI embedded. See, uh, let me just talk about the storage one first of all. So over here, Azure Data Share, Azure Data Lake Storage, and Azure Blob. Where is Azure Blob? Like Azure Open Data Set. These all are storage services which I'm going through right now.
Okay.
Right. So storage, if you click here, you will get all the services. Storage. Under that, storage account, Azure Backup, Store Simple, Azure Data Lake, Disk Storage, Queue Storage, Data Box. These all of these are this this is the blob storage, right? All of these are data storage services provided by Azure. Now each service has some advantage, some benefit, right? So depending on your requirement, you can use a particular data storage. But it's not limited. There are a number of tools like AI and machine learning. These are the services. Analytics. These are the services. Blockchain. Right. So you can explore these Azure services also, and some of these will be very helpful as you go. We'll be focusing primarily on Power App related services, so under which you will get Microsoft Power BI embedded, and then Power BI services, Power Apps are there. We will not talk about Power Apps, but I'll just show you like how can you utilize that. There is one called Gateway Service, so that I'll be covering, like how can you get data using Power BI Gateway. So application gateway, VPN gateway. Out of this, there is one Power BI gateway also. That is what I will be covering. Correct. These gateways will help you out to get your data from client system to your local system so that you can do the reporting. Okay. So when we say Power BI, what was the first product you heard about Power family in Microsoft? Is it the Power BI first tool, or are there many other tools related to Power family?
I think in Microsoft Excel itself, on Power Pivot was there previously, I think.
Right. Correct.
One
So
add-on.
before Correct. So before coming to Power BI, Microsoft actually launched that Power Pivot only, first of all. So uh, if let me just open this Excel. Right. So earlier, I mean, in Excel, if I go quite earlier, like 2003, and also if you see the old versions of Excel, in there under data tab, or because in at that time there was no ribbon like this, there were like menu drop down. So if you click on the data tab, you used to get get external data option, right? This thing helps you out to get data from different data sources. It could be your access database, it could be from web, you can connect to notepad or text file like CSV and all, and then you can get data from SQL Server or some other databases also. You can write Microsoft SQL query over here. So different options were there to kind of bring your data into Excel from any data source. It will be a connected data source, so whenever you refresh, you can get the latest data, right? But it was not that powerful. The result, it was directly creating a kind of pivot table or summary table that used to kind of refresh and give you the data, right? It was not that powerful. So what Microsoft did, it came up with another kind of option as Power Pivot, right? And under Power Pivot, again you can connect to any data source in the same pattern, the way we used to do into old data tab. So over here you can see it's get external data. Similar options are there. You can connect to any particular data source and get your data into Power Pivot within the Excel. Now the best part of this is like you get a lot of relational options over here. So let's say you are connected to multiple tables, you can see that relationship between the tables. Okay, when we say relationship between the tables, what do we mean? What relationship we are talking about?
Mm,
Relationship between tables, two or more tables like that, one on one.
Yeah, can you give an example?
If there are two tables where if the two IDs are same, suppose employee ID or the manager ID, both are there. If we want to match those two tables, we can give one-on-one relation. Sorry, many to one relation to the employee and the manager. So
Right. So when we say relation between the table, generally we are talking about the relationship like primary key and foreign key kind of relationship, right? So this primary key and foreign key generally are the key columns. So for example, you mentioned employee ID. So if let's say if employee ID is present in both the tables, we can join those tables basis employee ID. There could be date also, there could be name field also, right? Or there could be, let's say, mobile number is there, right? So if mobile number is present in both the tables, you can join those tables using mobile number as a common field, right? So it will help you to fetch information from both the tables. So that kind of relation you can draw over here. It was not possible in the previous connect to data feature. Now you can add kind of add custom calculations. You can create new data tables, right? You can see new data table option is there. Create relationship, manage relationship, all these options are there in Power Pivot. These were not there in the previous get external data or data tab. So
okay,
that's why
so
yeah.
in the data tab, only we can get the data and not design it, right?
See, the very basic query writing was there,
Okay.
right? SQL query writing was there, so you can
Mm-hmm.
customize your data writing, just filtering out or using that query. Relationship driving was not there.
Okay.
Rela-
Okay.
right? Relationship and kind of creating calculated field. So see, generally, if you are in Excel, you can create calculated field, right? You can write function over here and drive your columns,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But that is in Excel. It's not
Okay.
directly in the data coming from the source. What
Mhm.
happens in Power Pivot? Whatever data you get in the source
Mhm.
level only, you can add columns from here. So when I say source level, it will not go and impact your actual source. It will
Uh,
I should not say source level, I should say connection level, right? At this
okay.
connection level only you can create that calculated column,
Okay.
right? So that's the advantage of this Power Pivot. And another thing was like it was very fast than the previous data flow and all. So once it came into kind of Excel, there was a lot of demand over it, and after that only kind of Microsoft came up with the concept of Power Applications, and they launched Power BI after this. So this was the very first component of Power Family. This is still there, and the query what you write over here is called Power Query. The same query you can write in Power BI as well, right? So nowadays, not only this Power Pivot or Power BI, if you go to Power BI Microsoft.com, you will see there are a number of other services related to Power BI, right? So over here, if you see like Power BI Desktop, that is what we are going to use. That's a tool for developers. What is this Power BI Pro Premium? Do you have any idea about these two?
They're the paid services. Although the Power BI desktop is free, but Power BI Premium and Pro they will charge some extra, so that they will extend the source by getting 50 GB like that. So once if you want
Storage
to
difference.
load the data more than 50 GB like that, so that I think we have to go to Power BI Pro like that.
Right, right. So see what happens. This Power BI Desktop, that's a tool what we will install on our system. Correct? This tool is free of cost. Power BI Desktop, this comes free. You can install on your system. You can do the reporting, but for your system itself for personal use. If you want to utilize the services of Power BI Web, right? Do you have account on Power BI? app.powerbi.com,
Yeah.
right? So over here, generally they give the 60 days of trial. That is the free of cost, like 60 days. See over here, it is 30 days left for me, 33 days left for
Okay.
me. After 30
Mhm.
days, 33 days, this portal will not work for me,
Okay. Mhm.
right? So that is what Power BI Pro, I mean, the flexibility what you get over here, they come with Power BI Pro only. So you see, it
Uh,
says Pro trial, 33 days left.
isn't this Power BI service?
Yeah, this is the Power BI service only,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Power BI web service. So it comes
Okay.
up with 60 days trial. Now, another thing is, as soon as like you start using this Power BI Pro, there are limited things, right? You get options to share your report. You can publish data set, data flows onto Power BI web service.
Mhm.
But right, there are many things which as soon as Microsoft launches into beta version, they are available over here. You can start using that. But as I said that those are limited, which
Mhm.
means when I say limited, basically I can take one example. So the data set what you create, right? So let's say your data, uh, the data set what you create over here with the Power BI Pro account, that has maximum size of 1 GB, which means if you have data more than 1 GB, correct, you cannot create data set using a Power BI Pro account. You need to have premium account for that. That is this, right? Oh, with this also, let's say if you have number of dashboards or reports created, they might start getting slower. So this, all the services are there, but they are with limited scalability, limited options. So you might face problems over there. So that is why you need to come up with Power BI premium account if you are a huge or I would say the power user of Power BI products. So with this Power BI premium, you get a lot of storage space. You can create a data set of like as you mentioned, like 50 GB, right? More than 1 GB. You have that capability. So these two are the paid accounts actually. This is the very basic account, paid account, and this is premium account where for which you need to kind of pay around $5,000 every month, right? But you get a lot of feature with this, a lot of feature with this. So all the corporates generally go with this one. Small companies use this because they have less reports and less kind of less data. But if anybody or any company which is using a lot of data, a lot of reports, then they need to upgrade into this one, right? Any doubts or question between the difference of these two?
And the users also differ, I think, right?
What
The
do you mean
number
by
of users.
yeah, see the number of users over here, you can have unlimited users, right? Let's say you need to create unlimited user IDs,
Okay.
you need to go for premium one. But over here, generally what happens, see what again, the licensing is of different types. If you are taking a license basis, let's say personal use, correct? If you're going for a personal use, then you will have limited
Mhm.
users. But if you're going for enterprise
Okay.
licensing, then you can create unlimited users.
Mhm.
Correct. So
Okay.
that licensing and user creation is of different type. But ultimately, like if you are limited to Pro or maybe this first one, you will have individual licenses,
Okay.
right? What is Power BI Mobile?
The same service kind of thing, which we can use it in mobile also. The web service.
Right. So see why they have added it here. There is no separate development or uh, product. The
Uh,
only thing is,
hmm.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So the only thing is, whatever you create over here in Power BI Desktop and share that either in Pro or Premium, you can create that responsive to handheld devices, which means the dashboard generally what we create that will be for desktop, right? Our system,
Yeah.
right? But you can make that responsive so that you can easily look at that dashboard or report into mobile.
Okay.
Right, so that's why they have added Power BI Mobile. So whatever reports you share or create into Power BI Desktop, you can access the same from mobile also using web service, and you can customize it specifically for mobiles. So that
Mhm.
because generally what dashboards you will create over here and you try to kind of explore those, they will be of a bigger size, right? They might
Mhm.
not be responsive to your uh, mobile devices. So that's why kind of they come up with here, and you can open the same into your mobile device also.
So do the format or the size, everything changes when we view it in mobile?
No, you need to kind of provide that setting, then only it will change,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Okay, what is Power BI Embedded?
Mm, no idea.
Right. Okay, if I just remove this Power BI keyword here, what is the meaning of embedded? Embed or embedded?
Um,
Okay, how can you share few things? So let's say you uploaded even in Facebook, let's say, right? In Facebook, as soon as you share your some image or maybe video, how do you how can you share that with different other portals? In Facebook you have directly share option, you do that. But let's say if you click on that share, sometimes you get several options like URL, and sometimes you kind of directly get the icon and click on that, so it gets shared with other portal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
share to the public or share the friends timeline or only mail like that.
Mm-hmm. So my question is on that side. So embed is generally, it's a mechanism through which you share your reports. Uh, I'm just trying to look for that option over here. Embed. Okay. So website or portal. Over here, if you see this URL code, right? What it is. If you look at this code, do you understand anything? What it is related to?
No,
Okay. Have you kind of, any of your friend is doing web development or application development? Or you
no.
might have,
Is it
Mhm.
kind of a HTML code?
Yeah, it's a HTML code only, right?
Yeah.
So it's a HTML code. Now, what is there now here? It's a iframe tag.
Yeah.
So if you just put this tag or this code into HTML page, you
Mm.
can see exactly, this particular dashboard in the page wherein you put that tag.
Okay.
Correct. So which
Yeah.
means you are able to embed this dashboard in your application wherever you are putting this particular code. It will have same features, same behavior, everything, because it has the URL related to this dashboard also
Mm.
within the tag of iframe. This is the width of iframe, height of iframe, like how it will appear there. So which means for that, you need not to go to app.powerbi.com. If you log in your application and you have embedded this thing over there, you can see the same dashboard or report into your application,
Okay. Mhm.
right? But yes, authentication and everything would be kind of required because you are trying to access Power BI services. So for that, either you can provide the username password within the code so that it will automatically pick up that, or once you try to open this, then it will ask for the username password, and then you'll have to enter it.
Okay. So every Power BI report will have this code. I mean, different codes, which is embedded
Yes,
already. Okay.
correct. So any,
Okay.
I mean, any BI tool, if you pick, whether it is Tableau, in Tableau also you get this code
Okay.
embed, so you can directly put it into on SharePoint, web portal or website, or publish on web public. So this one is basically that code.
Okay.
Now,
But
Mhm.
isn't this a security issue?
No, that's what I'm saying. As soon as you put this URL over there, you will
Oh.
have the credentials, it will definitely ask.
Okay.
Now, there are two ways. Either you can just bypass the security so that you
Mm-hmm.
can directly pass, the username password, or
Mm-hmm.
once you try to open this page, then it will ask,
Okay. Okay.
right? That
Yeah.
mechanism you need to see, either you are passing manually or automatically, but
Yeah.
security constraint will be there. You need to pass the username password. Without that, you cannot open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this feature is generally there in all the BI tools, whether it is SSRS, Tableau, or Power BI, or any other tool you talk about. Everywhere you will
Okay.
get it. So okay, so that was Power BI embedded. Why it is important? Generally, see, most of the companies, or like in the software or applications, you need reports, right?
Yeah.
But creating such a report in your like native applications, or basically the application, your proprietary application, is little difficult, right? The kind of
Mm.
features which you get here, you won't be able to kind of develop everything
Mm-hmm.
within within Promises. So for that, you create reports over here and that embed that into your application,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, what is this last one? Power BI report server.
Is it related to SSRS?
Similar to that, correct? Similar to that. Okay. Before I go ahead and talk about this, if I ask one question, what is difference between on-premises services and cloud services? What do you understand? What do you mean by these?
Hey, hi,
If
sir. This side Tarun.
Hey Tarun. Yeah.
So sorry to late to join.
Okay. No problem. No problem, Tarun. I'll
Yeah,
share the
yeah.
recording. I'll share the recording at the end of the video so you can go through it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir,
All
you
right.
asked the question what is the difference between the on-premise and the cloud-based, right?
Right.
So basically, on-premise we can share the data within a company, organization,
Hmm.
and cloud-based we can share the data with within an organization. If let's suppose if I am sitting in another place, let's suppose US and also, so we can also share the data.
Okay, so
Right.
is it like locally the
Huh.
on-premise is local and cloud is
Glo-
outside the
globally,
organization? Yeah,
outside, yes.
globally. Yeah.
Okay. I will still not say that it is 100% correct, right? I mean, I have a reason for it. When we say like we are outside, right? Not in office, the same thing happens in the on-premises also, right? I mean, all the services, let's say SQL Server or maybe the shared drives, those are related to they are located on the servers provided by our companies. So, for example, like I work with XYZ company, and that is based out of US, right? So all my servers are based in US, but still I can access that here in India. Correct? They are not cloud. They are still on-premises service. I can share data from here to there, and they can send the data via. I'm not talking about emails. I'm talking about the shared drives or shared folders.
Okay.
So, sir, we can share the data from to outside users. So I can say this is a cloud-based software.
Mm, See, that's what I'm saying. It will not be kind of 100% correct to say when we say on-premises, right? The major difference between on-premises and cloud service. Okay, I'll give you one scenario. Let's say I go to cyber cafe every day, right? Now, what happens? There is a kind of system. I let's say if I go by 10, go every there by 10 o'clock in the morning. I log in and do my work, and I come back after 1 hour. Then other people also go and they also log in and do their work and they come back, right? So there is one system used by many people, correct? If I extend that little bit, right? If I say there is a resource which is available in some data center and there are many companies which are using that particular data center, and that data center is managed by some other third party company. Still, there is a physical system which is used by many companies. It is a shared resource, and all the security, access, recovery, backup will be taken care by that third party company. That is called a kind of cloud setup. That's a cloud setup. See, whether we talk about Azure, whether we talk about AWS, whether we talk about Google, whether we talk about Microsoft or some other cloud providers, Alibaba, right? All these have different data centers in different locations. They have physical data centers, and those data centers are shared. Let's say if I buy some cloud service, our services or softwares will be located into those data centers. I can access them from anywhere in the world. That's a cloud. That's a cloud setup, which means I don't worry about the hardware. I don't need to worry about the backup of that. I don't need to worry about the security and like recovery, or if something goes wrong, I'm not responsible for that. That third party company which is taking care, which is kind of charging us to provide that service, they will be responsible for it. So these Google, Azure, Microsoft, AWS, these are doing this only. They have different data centers in different locations in the across the world. And whenever, let's say, if I share some file, it goes into and sits into those data sets. Sorry, data centers, right? That's a cloud. When we say on premises, it is the ownership of that company only. Let's say if I work with ABC company, the company's responsibility is to manage the server. Company's responsibility is to see the security so that third party or other people cannot access it, right? That is called on premises setup. So if I kind of install, let me just talk about one thing. Let's say I have SQL Server installed on my system, right? Whatever data I put into this SQL Server, whatever tables I create in this SQL Server, they will always be there on my local system. And if I don't manage the ports properly on my system, other people can access it. Correct? That's a on-premises setup. This
Okay.
is within my firewalls.
Mhm.
But if my data is located outside of my firewall in some other third parties premises or their data center, then that is called cloud setup. The beauty of cloud setup is it is a shared resource. Many people use that. Still, there is high security, right? High backup. In case anything happens, recovery options are there. High availability is there. So what happens as soon as you kind of store some data into cloud with any company which you talk about, right? So what they do, they create the replica of your data. Immediately they create the replica of your data and they put it into several data centers. So let me just show you one more thing. Azure data centers in India or locations. See, Azure has these many locations for their data centers. In America, they have North, Central, East. Within East also, they have 2 locations. So what happens? Let's say if you log in from Virginia, correct? So your data will immediately get replicated into 2 regions. Now let's say something happens in this region, light goes or some cyclone is there. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Let's say if
Mhm.
this data center is not working, you can still access your data because your data has been kind of replicated. And as soon as this data set, this region will be available, the data will get synced, right? So recovery, backup, everything is there. And why they create the replica of your data? So that they can make high availability,
Mhm.
right? So all these features, if you try to do within your premises, it will cost, huge cost to you. So all these features you are getting within the service provided by the cloud systems. And that is the reason they go with a model called pay as you go. There is no fixed price for these services. The more data you will use, the more data size you have, the more access, the more you will transact your data, there would be huge cost. But if you're not interacting, there will be very less cost, right? Similarly, the way you can see the regions over here within Asia. So in India, South India and Central India, like in Pune and Chennai. Okay. Recently, you might have heard about that Reliance is working with, I'm not sure with AWS or Google. They are creating their data center in Calcutta because Reliance is also about to, Reliance Jio, they're also planning to come up with the cloud services. So if you search for this, it is not been launched yet. Jio cloud services, right? They are planning to come up with the cloud services, and their first data center is going to be there in Calcutta. So that is what they are working on.
So I think Facebook is going to invest in the Reliance Jio now.
See, right now Jio is kind of working on different projects. In one of them, Facebook has invested. I believe that is related to the uh, like payment solutions for mid and small segment. So WhatsApp will be kind of used as a delivery tool wherein you'll be able to kind of do the payments and all, even the delivery. The small vendors can do the delivery and run their business using WhatsApp. Similarly, Google has also tie up with Geo in some other project. I mean, there are many things which are going on with Geo. So Geo, Google, and Microsoft, Facebook, it has many deals from last few days. Okay, Amazon and Google, Reliance Jio, Facebook deal, Amazon and Google. So there are a number of deals which have happened recently. But this cloud service, I believe the last when I read about the blog, they are planning to start this into September or November 2021. Okay, so cloud. Just read about the cloud services, right? You will get a lot of idea because nowadays everything is moving on the cloud. So it's good to be aware of. And the Power BI services, what we are using, except the Power BI desktop, everything is on cloud, whether it is pro, premium, mobile, embedded service, report service, even the portal which we are accessing right now, this is on cloud only, right? So nowadays the 99% application what you access, right, whether it is Facebook or anything 99% of applications are on cloud. You will get hardly very few applications which are on premises. So it's good to know about cloud. And let me go ahead further. Okay, why I asked that question now. So Power BI report server. Basically, this server where we have deployed our Power BI report, correct? It is Power BI web server only. Now it depends whether this server is located within our premises or on cloud. So this one which we are accessing right now, it is on cloud. The same setup can be done within a premises. Are you getting when I say within the premises? Okay. So you can install the Power BI report server on a particular system, and then you can deploy these reports or publish these reports onto that particular server. Let's say you install it on your local system. You can get the similar environment wherein you can publish these things. So that will be an application or server running on your local system, and you can publish these reports there also. Right now it is on cloud. Then in that case, this URL will be different and you can access that report from local system if it is on premises. So over here, if you see, if I click Power BI report server, right, it says download free trial. See over here, if you look at this image, it looks like similar to what we were able to see here in the home, right? Which means you are installing that server on your local. That's it. Power BI report server is on-premises solution for reporting today. If you don't want that, you can directly publish over here in the cloud. If you do it on cloud, the storage will be on Microsoft Azure. Security will be based out of this account. Right? You can go by going into admin, you can see that who has access, who cannot access, even people who can access, what type of rights they have, and what type of permissions they have. So we'll be going through those permissions, rights, all details. But as an intro of Power BI, does this make sense what we went through so far? the different components, or
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Okay. So now let's look into okay, before going to what is Power, why Power BI. Okay, let me go to what is Power BI. I think I already talked brief that what is Power BI, like the reports and all you can share. Okay, why Power BI? I basically want to cover the architecture, that how it basically works. Okay. Has anybody seen SSRS reports?
No, sir.
Okay. So Microsoft, before coming to this Power Pivot and Power BI kind of setup, there was a combination of tools that is still there in the market. We call it MSBI. You must have heard about MSBI, right?
Yes.
What is the full form of MSBI?
Microsoft Business Intelligence.
Right. So this was the combination of several tools. Basically, in total, if I said there were 4 tools within this, you can say tools or products. So basically, MSBI. Under MSBI, there was Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Integration Services, Microsoft Reporting Services, and then Microsoft Analytical Services. These 4 services were there. Now, out of that, like SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services, right? This was used for reports earlier. Still, many companies are using it, but it has completely, since when Power BI came into the market or launched by Microsoft, this tool has completely gone out,
Yeah.
right? Because there is a similar, when we talked about that Power BI reporting server, right? There is a similar setup as this tool has. This was also used for reporting only, but because of Power BI, it has a lot of customization. The visualization what you create here, those are very kind of good. In SSRS, those features were not there, and that's why it has gone completely out, right? Uh, SSIS we still use. So as soon as we start using this Power BI web service, right, I'll talk about some components which are still very close to SSIS. Now, with Power BI, you can connect to SSAS also. What is SSAS?
So
S,
SQL
S
Server Analytical System.
Analytical Services,
Yes,
right?
services.
And what it does,
Uh, is it a database engine or something?
not database engine. I would not say it's a database engine. I will say, okay. Uh, in Power BI, we use DAX, right? Everybody was asking like, what is DAX and how many DAX functions will be covered and all.
Hmm.
What is full form of DAX? DAX,
Data analysis
Data.
expression.
Yeah.
right? Data analytics
Yeah.
expressions, DAX.
Yeah.
Similarly, DAX, there is another component called MDX.
Yeah.
Right, MDX. So MDX, multi-dimensional expressions. Right.
Mhm.
Now, before going to MDX, see, this is again a query. DAX is also a query. You write your conditions in DAX. Similarly, MDX is again a kind of SQL. I will not say SQL, but it is similar to SQL. It is written on Cube. Now, now there would be a question: what is Cube?
Do we use this in Power BI, MDX?
MDX we can use. We can use, right?
Hmm.
But let's talk about Cube. What is Cube? Okay. So cube is generally the multi-dimensional data. Multi-dimensional data. If I talk about a table, table is two-dimensional data, correct? You have rows and columns.
Yes, sir.
But when we say multi-dimensional, which means you have number of dimensions in a table. Let's say multi-dimensional is also a kind of table only, right? But you have multiple dimensions over there. So you can have date, you can have, it's again a dimensional structure what we create. So SSAS is used to create cubes only. So let's say you get a lot of data and you want to kind of summarize that data so that you can use it for reporting purpose. So that is why we use cubes. Cubes can be created in many tools. Microsoft has SSAS in which we create cubes. So it works on OLAP concept, OLAP concept, right? Please note down all these terms what I'm covering today. I'm just giving a small introduction of the complete ecosystem. I'm not going through the detailed of Power BI right now. I'm just giving you the different keywords which will be even asked in the interviews. So whether it is MDX, DAX, I just mentioned OLAP. So generally in interviews, the question is asked like, what is OLAP and OLTP? Right? Do you have any idea about OLAP and OLTP?
No, sir.
Right. So all the reporting, generally, most of the reporting will be done from your OLAP systems.
Yes. Where we have
Online,
historical data.
yeah, historical data. So OLAP, full form of OLAP is Online Analytical Protocol.
I think they will cover under data warehousing concepts, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Right? Because in Power BI, you can connect to these SSAS and cubes also. So there could be a kind of question in interviews that what type of systems you will connect for your reporting purpose. Why can't you do the reporting from OLTP systems? Right? We don't do reporting from OLTP systems. We do reporting only from OLAP systems because in OLAP you have historical data. In OLTP, the full form of OLTP is Online Transactional Protocol. So which means the databases wherein you have a regular transaction like banking domain. Within banking domain, there are databases wherein, like every day there would be 1,000 or number of, transactions. We cannot do the reporting basis those transactions or those databases. If we start doing reporting on those databases, right, the transactions will go slow, the performance will go slow. So you might, see the situation wherein number of transactions will start failing. So that's why we don't touch OLTP databases for reporting. What we do in return, we just take a backup of the data, or not the backup, I would say. We migrate that data maybe on day end or hourly basis, some other system. That is what we call OLAP systems. And from there, we can do the reporting. Right? In OLAP systems, your data is generally multidimensional, or it is basically not normalized data. Right? Do you understand the normalized data and unnormalized data? Correct?
So basically in OLTP, like since it is slow and maybe lots of data also, I think, right?
No. In OLTP, I will not say it is slow. It has to be very high performing data, a database, and it needs to be kind of, fast, very fast, because
Mhm.
you are using that for your real time transactions.
So is OLAP fast then?
No, OLAP is not fast. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. OLAP is meant for reporting.
Okay.
So compared to OLTP, OLAPs are not faster. There are multiple reasons that these are not faster, because you keep historical data here and you do create, different tables in order to do your reporting so that you can directly show the summary information. You're not using it for your regular transactions. That's why, we generally keep it with low performing. But Because historical data is there, then definitely it is going to take time. But OLTP databases need to be very fast, because on top of OLTP databases only your business runs, the real-time business runs. Okay, so yep, so these two things, OLTP and OLAP, that is what we covered. But yes, in Power BI you will have option to connect to both systems, but our for reporting purpose we'll be generally connecting to OLAP. So SSAS services provided by Microsoft are related to OLAP only. And OLAP, as I said, like online analytical protocol. So you'll be doing all of your reporting from there, because it has historical data, number one, and number two, it will have all the multi-dimensional cubes or different tables, so you can do the reporting. And even before coming to Power BI, SSRS also used to do the reporting on top of SSAS. So that system is still there. Now, if I go for a typical architecture related to Power BI, right? So if you just, okay, let me just open this one, this image. Okay, so if you see in this particular diagram, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
So it's all about like how you kind of get your data into Power BI and then you do the reporting, right? So over here, if you see on high level, like you have number of data sources. It could be like your SQL Server, it could be Oracle, it could be DB2, or maybe any XYZ file system based data source or server system based data source, right? Can you give me example of file based system data sources?
MS Excel, CSV files, flat files.
Right. So when we say file system, basically any files or any data sources which are physically located on your system. So generally it could be your Excel file, text file, Microsoft Access, or some other, like JSON file and all. So those things can be physically located on your system. Those are called file system based. Another component is called client server, or you can say client architecture based or server based, so like SQL Server or DB2. In that case, what happens, generally data is not located in your system, but you connect using your a server URL or using username and password. So those are called server based system. So over here, irrespective of the type of data source, you can connect those data sources into Power BI, right? There are a number of systems what you can connect over here. If you can go to get data, right? I've just clicked on get data. Then another pop-up comes up over here. So if you select all, this is the list of different data sources what you can connect into Power BI. So you can see like starting from your file-based systems, then SharePoint folder, SQL Server database, then these databases related to IBM, MySQL, Postgres, SAP, Sybase, Teradata, Vertica, right? There are number of databases are there. And then these databases, if you see over here, see Azure Blob Storage, Table Storage. So these are the storage locations in Azure. We were talking about the storage services, right? So you can connect those services also using Power BI. So let's say you have some data in Azure Data Lake. So you can connect to that and get your data here, right?
Okay.
Then some big data related systems. So HD Insights is there, Azure Insight, HD Insights is there. Then these two options we will be doing as we go, Power BI Dataset and Power BI Data Flows. It's in Power BI Web Service only. Then you have Microsoft Exchange Online. What is Dynamics? Dynamics 365 or NAV? Yeah.
That is also a Microsoft tool.
Right. That's a Microsoft ERP system. Okay. So you can connect to ERP system of Microsoft as well. Then Azure DevOps is there. Then you have Salesforce related components, Google Analytics, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You might not know all of these data sources, but still you can connect. See, all the beta versions they have added recently, right? You can connect to Hadoop. Then if you have ODBC or OLADB, right? You need not to worry about any data source, whether it is available here or not. If you have capability of creating ODBC and OLADB connection, you can connect to any data source, whether the natively that connection is available over here or not, right? You can create custom connections. If you want to see these data sources by category, you can just click over here. You will see only file, then only databases, all Power Platform related connections, Azure related connections, online services related connections, and then you have web related connections, right? So there are number of different connectors over here which you can utilize. Now if I go back to this image here, so this first portion we saw like there are number of connectors which we can connect to. This is your Power BI desktop. As soon as you connect over here, then you can utilize the Power services. Like whatever report you create, either you can deploy them on Power services or the Power BI report server. If you're doing it on Power service, you can see that report over here. Or if you do it on Power BI report server, that means this is on your on-premises server. So from there you can see the report. And ultimately the reports and dashboards will be there, which you can see or share with different people. This is very high level. I would not say this is architecture. This is just the flow that how you can do the reporting in Power BI, right? For architecture, generally this is the image. What you'll get this image in several books also, and in some tutorials also they will use it, whether it is YouTube or some other places. So over here, if you see, right, in this particular image, let me open this image in another. Okay, so over here, if you see, this is your gateway, right? Again, it's not a full image, right? Okay, so this portion, this is not a full image, which I generally see. Okay, see, ultimately, if you see, you got the high level flow, right? How it's going to work in Power BI.
Yeah.
Like the data flows.
Mm-hmm.
You have different data sources. You can kind of connect to the cloud services, transform your data using either using Power BI desktop or using the Power BI web services, and then you come up with the reports. So that's a high level flow. I mean, every image is talking about that only. Let's don't waste the time. What I'll do now, I'll just directly go to our Power BI desktop and we'll connect to some data sources available. So I'll just select Excel as of now and we'll connect to this. Over here, let's say I have an Excel sheet, financial sample. Again, this data source is available on Microsoft site only. So you can connect, you can download it from there also. Once you connect, as soon as you connect to your data, right? What happens? Power BI will show you all the tables related to your data source. If you are connected to a SQL server, it will show you all the tables available on that database. If it is Excel, it will show you all the sheets which are available into that Excel file. So over here in this file, I have two sheets, financials and sheet 1. Let me select financials. You can see the preview. over here, right? And let's say if I do this one, what is this? Okay, similar tables are there. So let me just select one at a time. Now over here you have two options. Either if you want, you can directly load this data, or if you want, you can transform that data. So what will happen? Let's say if you click on load data, what will happen that you will start getting all your data fields over here, and you can do the reporting into this particular page. But if let's say you do transform your data, what will happen? You will get a screen wherein you can play with, you will definitely able to see the data like this, but over here you can play with your data, means you can add columns, or let's say if you want to make some data type changes in the data type, all that operations you can perform, right? Now what happens as soon as you connect to your data, this Power BI creates a logical query out of it. So if you see, this is the query basis which it is getting the data. Table dot transform column types, so financial table, this is the name of sheet. Then these are the different fields which you have, right? All the thing which you get in brown color are the field names. And beside that, after type, there is their data type. So whether it is text, number, date, or integer 64 type or integer type, right? So these are the different data types what are being supported into Power BI. Now, not only here in this query, if you look at this table as of now, your first column segment, with this you have right over here, it is written ABC. ABC stands like this is your string field. String you can say, or you can say text, right? If it is ABC, which means the data type of these fields is string or text. If it is 1.2, right? It has written as
Yes.
1. Right? Which means it is decimal number. It could be float or it could be decimal, whatever you call it. If it is 1, 2, 3, that means this is whole number. Right? So 1, 2, 3, then 1.2. I'll scroll further. Okay. If it is a calendar icon, it's a date field. Right? Even if it is date time, then also you will get calendar icon. The default date type in Power BI is date and time. Then okay, so these are generally the data types, but anytime you want to kind of change the data type or you want to see something else, you just click over here, you will see all possible options. So whatever you select over here, like either you want, you can keep the decimal numbers, fixed decimal numbers, whole numbers, percentage, date time or date time and time zone, duration, text, true, false, like Boolean fields, and binary. So if I let's say if I select it was my numbers, right? If I select decimal number, I can convert this, right? So what will happen? It will just change this column into 1.2. Now it is a decimal field. Correct. So you can change the data type directly from here from the transform tab. We are at transform tab right now. And from here we can change the data type related to our table. Correct. Other than this, there would be several other features which we can apply. Today I will not do it. See, all over options which you see over here, we can apply those things onto this transformation. So as of now, I'll just click close and apply. I just changed one data type. So what will happen? This will show me like apply query changes, and then it will take me to the Power BI desktop. See, now I can see all the fields over here. And right now I'm at first tab, which is called report. This is the place where I'll be kind of creating the reports into Power BI. If you want to go back to the transform tab, you can just directly click over here. You will see the similar page over here, like all the fields. It is the data tab. Over here you see all your fields, but you are not able to see that data type and all, right? Anytime you want to do that, just go here and then transform data. Then you will go back to the original tab wherein you are able to see the data as well as you are able to make changes in the data. The last tab over here, model, that talks about the relationships or fields in your data. So as of now, we are connected to only one table. So you can see one table over here and all the fields. If you're connected to multiple tables, you can see those tables also over here, and you can define the relation. So we'll do that as we go. But for now, let me go back to this particular page. Right. So over here, under fields, if I ask one question, like against some fields you see sigma icon and some fields you see, let's say, date, and for some you don't get anything. What is the meaning of this?
Summarize of that particular column.
Can you please repeat?
Summarize of that particular column. The sum of that column.
Some. Okay. Basically, it is not doing sum as of now, but it is indicating that these fields, wherever you are getting sigma, are your measures. Measures means numerical fields, right? If you don't get anything, that means it is a string or dimension. And if it is calendar, which means it is your date or date time. Correct? On high level, this is measure, this is dimension, this is date.
Okay.
Right? What is dimension, by the way? I mean, how would you say like this is my measure and this is my dimension? What are the key factors?
Methods means we can calculate that. So I mean to say which are the numerical values like that. If the sales are like dimension, if the monthly one say, monthly two say, monthly three say, like that, we can call them as the measures so that we can sum up them.
Right. See, in a very simple language, if we say all the quantitative fields, right? Quantitative means which you can measure, which you can see, like let's say it's a 2 kg weight or 10 kilometer distance, right? Anything which can be measured will be known as measure in a simplest language. So if it is quantitative data, that is measure. If it is qualitative data or categorical data, that is dimension. Hope it is clear.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so let me just take and just show you something to be created here. It's very simple in Power BI. You might have already tried this because that is the very first thing what we do whenever we try a new tool. So you can just select some of your dimensions over here. Let's say maybe segment if I select, and I can take any measure, maybe sales. So Power BI automatically, whatever fields you create, it kinds of create that visualization over here. Now it's up to you. Out of these available visualizations, what you select, accordingly things will change for you, and then you can just report on it. So in terms of creating visualization is not difficult in Power BI. It is very simple, right? Once you kind of drag and drop your fields, you'd see the related properties, you can do it. But how better optimize that, how better represent that in dashboard, how to kind of publish this and then share it, even before coming to all this visualization, the customization part, that is what we will primarily focus on during this course. Creating visualization is just hardly 3 or 4 steps what we just did, right? So this is not going to be tough for anybody can learn this. So once like as of now we just created this Power BI the pie chart over here. We can simply click on publish, and what it does, first of all, it will ask me to save it, right? We have just taken one chart as of now. Let's say if you want to take another one, you can just right? You can take another component, maybe let's say not country, let's say product, and then you can take maybe trend. Let me do that. Over here you can take date, and then you can take your maybe profit, right? So your trend is also ready. I don't want to take it year. I'll just simply take quarter or maybe day. Fine. So over here you see different trends also. In case you want to do the map, you can just create the space for map and put the map below this. So resizing, creating it will not be difficult for you. You can easily create anything, whichever you want. I've taken one map thing over here, and then we will drag our fields on top of it. So in case of map, I need to take the geographical field. For our case, I think it's only country that I can see. Right, it's North America. And then you can take sales or profit. You can drag those legends over here. Yeah. So you have very few limited data over here. You have Europe and then North America and Canada kind of data you have. So let's say I just created 3 charts over here. Creating this was not difficult. It's simple drag and drop, selecting your elements. Some customization is there that we will see later as we go. You can save it and then you can publish it. So I'll just click on save, create new folder 0608-2020. Right? As soon as you create it, it will get published to Power BI web service. You can do the same things. See, right now we are connected to, because I'm logged into Power BI web service. So that's why by default, it will push this workbook to Power BI web service. But if it is your on-premises Power BI reporting server, you need to log in using that. Maybe SSN or SSO sign-in will be there. And then you can publish the same into reporting your internal or on-premises server. I just select one workspace. It is publishing right now. Right? As soon as it
just a moment. I didn't hear when you said that 33 days, right? When you said after 33 days, what you will do, you said once
See,
your Power BI service gets expired,
I will
you
create
have to
another
buy the
account.
Pro premium.
No, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, if
that's
you
the
want,
only
you
option,
can
right?
buy it. No, if you want, you can buy it, right? There would be a licensing cost. And if you don't want to do that, create another ID and create another account. 60 days is
Yeah.
enough, right, for training and all.
Yeah.
So you can just create another account and go for it. So,
Okay.
right. So now, as of now, if you see here, it's directly available for you in Power BI web service. You can see that particular dashboard. Filters we are not using right now, and it's on full screen. The best part of Power BI is that by default, it creates all the filters. So if you select any particular, let's say, segment over here, automatically your data is getting filtered for that. Right? Same thing will happen for country also. So whichever you select, accordingly your data will change. Right? Drill down capability, hierarchy, everything is here, but we'll go one by one. We'll see that how can you see the drill down, how can you create your custom hierarchies, or maybe the default hierarchies in Power BI. Okay, but creating and visualizing will not be difficult at all. It is just things like customization will take time, and how to represent, like reading your data, that will take time for you guys.
Hmm.
right? So we'll take you through, one by one. Today I wanted to give you high level overview that what is the ecosystem of Power BI, what are the different tools, what are the different services. I still have not explored this web service today. Tomorrow we'll focus completely on web service so that we can see the different components available here. When I said data set or data flow, what I mean, I'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. So any questions
Yeah.
before any questions before we drop today?
Mhm. So generally in the companies, do they use the on-premises data while using the Power BI, or directly we use the Power BI cloud service?
People go with cloud service only. See, because what happens once you take the cloud service, right? There are many
Yeah.
things which you get free of cost. Over here also, if you see, uh, like under my workspace, like data flow, over here you see, right? Data set, data flows, and many things are there. These things are the storage what I'm getting right now. Everything is free, right? I'm not paying even a single rupee for it.
Yeah.
So, right, the only thing will happen if I start increasing the data set or the size of my data, then Power BI will have a question. Then they will ask question like, what is your consumption and utilization is increasing? Then they will come up with the cost and everything, right? Until
Oh,
unless I'm using the free tier or the benefit in the free tier, there will not be any cost around it,
okay.
right? And that is the
Uh,
reason. See, yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, like, see, if we are like creating a new report, for
Mhm.
example, if we are creating some new report, so we will finish a report, we publish it, everything is done. But uh, it keeps on updating, right? The data keeps on updating. For example, for a sales store or something, the
Mhm.
data keeps on updating month by month. So
Mhm.
whenever we update the data, what happens to the report? It also keeps updating, right?
It depends on what type of connection we have used, right? I have not
Mm.
talked about the
But
connections
generally,
today. Mhm.
okay, but generally in real time it should happen, right?
Yeah, it should happen. It should update,
Okay. Mm.
right? See, if you are connected to any file-based system,
Mm.
then it will not update, right?
Okay.
File-based systems, it will not update automatically. And
Mm.
even I didn't get that option when I was connecting to Excel today. I didn't get that option, right?
Okay. Uh,
If you're
uh,
connecting to server-based systems or SQL
mm.
Server or any database, then you get that option that you want a real connectivity or extracted connectivity,
So
right?
Yeah.
whenever the data is
Okay.
updated in the DB, it automatically refreshes the report, or how it works?
So you have that's what I'm saying. Let's say if you are trying to import your data only, correct? If it is
Okay.
not a real time connectivity, it will not update. You need to refresh that. You need to refresh that data set from there. And if
Okay.
it is a real time connectivity, as soon as data changes, it will reflect into Power BI.
Okay. Mm.
Right. So
So
those connectivity will talk about the connection types and different
Okay.
options there.
Okay. Okay.
okay. So if it is like a live connection type, so it will refresh automatic, right?
Right, right.
Import data means we need to refresh manually if it's the
Correct.
kind of import data.
Right. See, you'll be creating data sets. Now within the data sets, you will have option to refresh. I think let me just show you once before we drop. If I come here, right over here, if you see, it's your report, it's data set, correct? It's your dashboard. On each data set, you get this icon, refresh now. Whether
Okay.
it was Excel I connected to or SQL Server, you get this option. If you click over here, it will tell you that it can refresh. Now it depends if it is a file-based connection. This is the gateway-based connection actually. No,
Okay.
no, no. This is today's only. This is what. Okay, 526. I think it is.
Yeah.
Let me check for something which is not a demo 10 parameters gateway connection. It's your gateway connection. This is what we created today, right? 6/8/2020.
Yeah.
I'll refresh this. Now let's see what happens. Refresh failed due to gateway configuration. So we have not configured any gateway over here. That's fine, right? It's not configured correctly. Because in Excel, it's a file-based connection, and this kind of needs to be configured first of all. Then only it will kind of fetch the real-time connectivity. Had it been SQL Server, right? We had that option while creation of connection, like import or direct connectivity. So if you go for direct connectivity, you can anytime come here and refresh, automatically you will get the data, right? We'll talk about the scheduling refresh or manual refresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but for practice purpose, only manual refresh is possible, I think. Yeah.
I think on Pro we need to check, but schedule refresh is also possible.
Okay.
Right. Right now you go with the create direct connection, and it will be a manual refresh only. But I'll share details like how can you create some data set which you can refresh basis schedule. So automatically at that particular time, this data set will refresh.
Okay.
Okay.